With the advent of the internet and the ingenuity of those with real talent and imagination, a new world was born. Two friends, Sigma and Psi, wanted to create a world all their own on the internet where they and their friends could share, create, and have fun with no limitations. Friends invited more friends, who in turn invited even more friends, and with the success Sigma and Psi enjoyed, they were approached by investors with an interest in monetizing the world they'd created. Sigma and Psi argued at great lengths about the merits of accepting this capital investment. On one hand, at the rate the server was growing, the funds would help maintain the community they'd created and foster the growth for years to come. On the other hand, Psi argued that this would officially be the end of fun. Sigma's mentality won out though, and like he'd predicted, the once small server that a few friends had enjoyed in private had grown into a household name. Every household that had internet had Natem, the new server's name. You can imagine it sort of like a modern day Facebook, mixed with Steam and YouTube and Instagram and Twitch. Basically, if you did it on the internet and it's fun or profitable, Natem was in charge of it. Natem was a sort of metaverse where you donned a headset and logged into the world of broken reality, a world where you could hang out with your friends and don cool outfits, hang out in cool places, and play cool games. With all this success, the partners' workload also increased to the point it was no longer manageable for just the two of them. Sigma and Psi came together on another project, this time an AI who would help create new websites and tools for users to explore and shape their digital world. Unbeknownst to Sigma, Psi had included a rule during creation to sabotage the inner workings of Natem by guiding users to sensitive areas and creating a site that's purpose was for viruses to grow and reproduce. This led to Sigma fearing what may happen if their AI creation, now named Zero-Chan, simply decided to delete everything, or if Zero was hijacked by one of the viruses she festered. Psi anticipated Sigma's paranoia and hid Zero's code, her lifeblood, in a tablet. Unfortunately, Sigma not only found the tablet, but they also cracked Zero's code, and upon discovering what Psi had done in sabotaging their creation, decided to delete Zero-Chan. Zero was cast down into the internet, a place where all things unwanted end up. Viruses, deleted files, and now Zero-Chan, surrounded by that corruption and death. Sigma and Psi's mounting tensions led to Sigma dissolving their partnership after Psi's betrayal and Psi's constant dissatisfaction with the way Natem ran their world. Sigma then left the world of Natem. Natem would go on to grow into a mega corporation that controlled many aspects of the internet. New communities would spring up, but instead of fostering a sense of community or with fun at the forefront like before, new websites instead featured paywalls, restrictions, and monthly subscriptions. These were just the issues visible on the surface though. Under the hood, Natem suffered from viruses, a popularity-based like economy, redundant code, broken rigs, and inhospitable moderators. The community tried their best to fight back against these hiccups. An ancient Ronin used to travel the servers hunting viruses with his sword made of the darkest materials from the deepest webs, the same place Zero-Chan was left to rot. Unfortunately, it was this same dark material that flagged the Ronin, and Natem broke his sword into pieces. Another user travels the old and deserted servers of Natem, collecting and hoarding information in the hopes that it helps someday fix this world, and as a warning to future users not to make the same mistakes of the past. Modernly, criminals hijack official transportations of likes to distribute them to other users in need, and sell them to make a quick buck. Time passes and things settle down. Users become complacent to a lifestyle orbiting likes and money for digital goods. Psi creates a new AI assistant during this time without the goal of destroying Natem, called Oni-chan, and instead of an AI for the producers of Natem, she's an assistant for the users of Natem. Official services and kiosks are manned by Oni-chan all across Natem, from welcome desks to tech support to credit lending facilities. It's not unreasonable to assume that Psi still wants to devalue Natem and return things to the way that they were, but it's likely that Natem now watches over Psi and her creations more closely. Natem is a real big brother figure in the world of broken reality. If you don't perform your functions, if you go digging where you shouldn't, or if you don't prove your worth to Natem, you get deleted. The latest and final update is pushed out to the public, Natem 4.2. and with it a new theoretical code that would automatically fix any future bugs that may be encountered. This theoretical code was instead useless and didn't fix the anticipated bugs. Following this, Sai fled deep into the internet, where she would be unheard of for a long time, undetectable and unassailable by Natem. Shortly before the events of Broken Reality the game, Zero-Chan would return to the surface web, now broken and under a different name, Error. She speaks cryptically, but she opens the eyes of several users, advising them a world beyond Natem. Broken Reality the game opens up with a new user logging into Natem, a fanfare of beautiful 90s internet aesthetic and all in 3D. Our character meets Natem's new greeter, the user-friendly AI Oni-chan. The land traveled is revealed to be Domo Paradiso, a sort of tutorial area for users to play around with all the new tools they're given from Natem, which include a liker to like users and advertisements with, an ancient Ronin sword to fight viruses with, a UPay credit card to buy digital goods with, a hyperlinker which acts as a grappling hook, a camera to catalog all your great times in Natem, and finally a bookmarker so you can return to all your favorite places at a moment's notice. The goal of this area is to meet new people and get enough likes to meet the admin of Domo Paradiso. Along the way though, you run into Error, who reveals her want to destroy Natem and advises the player to enjoy this digital world for as long as they can. Accomplishing your task of accruing likes, you meet the admin, named Admin, who is very friendly and glad to meet you. He opens the door to the next area, but as you're getting ready to leave, he advises you that the world of Natem is corrupted to the core. But before he can tell you anything else, he suddenly disappears. The player then travels to Aae's Plaza, a user distribution hub that leads to the other areas of Natem, like the Love Cruise, a cruise-themed website centered around vacationing and romance, Aquanet, which is described as the first public server but is now flooded and without maintenance. Aquanet is also host to many inner workings of a computer, including RAM, GPU, CPU, and a monitor, just to name a few. Aae's Plaza also connects to GeoCity, which is an especially beautiful area molded in the image of a cyberpunk city. GeoCity has the highest concentration of users and could be assumed to be most people's goal when surfing Natem's servers. There's many fun things to do there, like enjoy live music, shopping, or playing games. There's a final hidden 6th server, but we'll shelve that information for now. The player travels firstly to Aquanet, where they knock the dust off the inner workings of the underwater city. Along the way, they meet an enigmatic figure called the Fisherman, who on the surface seems to be a cryptic criminal, interested only in skimming your information. He uses the restored power of Aquanet to fix a bridge that was broken, and to give you a teleporter back to the surface. Climbing a tower visible from the entrance, you make your way to a door that leads to an all-white abyss, inhabited only by Error again, who chides that no matter how hard you try to hide something, it will always be dug up if someone is interested enough in it. The player departs, and after traveling again through Aae's Plaza, this time arrives at the Love Cruise through the engine room. After making your way up and landing in the kitchen, you meet Captain Johnson, who tasks you with fixing up the party boat. Some chores include acting as a waiter, cooking, helping his nephew take pictures, and collecting bottles of alcohol that have been scattered across the boat. While working, Captain Johnson tells you that he'd like to meet you in his private cabin, as he has something important to tell you. Once arriving, you meet Captain Johnson and another special guest, the admin. The admin reveals that in order for everyone to escape Natem, an altar must be located and unlocked with 15 keys. Captain Johnson reveals to the player that Error came to him in a dream some time ago, and ever since then he and several others, including the admin, have been able to peek behind the curtain of Natem, and now they want out. On the hunt for keys, the player ends up in GeoCity, where they're reacquainted with Fisherman, who promises them a reward if they clear their debt, which he further advises them they can do with the help of GeoCity's underworld. After completing a few jobs, Fisherman's reward is revealed to be his personal UPay credit card that instead of losing money on purchases actually gains money, and also has an added bonus, it can slow down time. Fisherman points the player towards the top for the answers and keys they seek. After accruing $1 million in Natem, the player makes their way to the top. I've been rather unforthcoming with this information, but at this time it makes sense to reveal that the player is none other than Sai's old friend Sigma. When you first log in, Oni-chan recognizes you but can't place her finger on how. Not long after, when talking to a character called Socrates, he calls you Sigma in a fugue state. And now that you've made your way to the top, after completing a short puzzle, it's revealed that a room hidden is an old room of your own, complete with your profile picture on the wall. This is all tied together nicely in a bow when Oni-chan stops you on your departure and gives assistance to Sigma in the form of a handful of likes. Oni-chan's final advice to the player is that some things are meant to be broken, and some things that are broken are not meant to be fixed. After acquiring a camera upgrade in this room, keys now reveal themselves through walls. Keys are triangle-shaped eyes with 3 to every main world including the plaza. Once collected, the keys open a hidden door to an altar deep in the interwebs. The interwebs is inhabited by the darkness the internet hides in itself. There's old discarded tools, a giant Kraken Leviathan creature, electrical storms, piles of unused electrical equipment, and decayed and dying landscape all around. In this world you run into Air, who asks you to find her children, who are circular orbs of characters encountered in the game. Once collected, she gives you half of a torn map with a code to unlock a dead door. After solving another climbing puzzle, you run into Fisherman, now called Fisher, who sits gazing off at the broken land around him. He offers the player some words about not holding high hopes in others or themselves, and gives the player the other half of the map. Entering the password and walking through the now activated door, you fall down a hole where Sigma comes face to face with their old friend Sai. There are no words shared about the good times or where they've been. There are no words shared about the years of hate and animosity. There's only a warning from Sai to Sigma not to fall off the path ahead, because what would be seen off the beaten trail could not be unseen. After navigating a darker interweb, following Sai the whole way, Sai tells the player that their time is now and that it's Sigma's turn to continue on ahead alone, to continue on ahead towards the core of Natem. At this point, you enter through a door into an apartment. There's plenty to be said about the apartment itself. Oni-chan sits facing away from the player with a broken tablet on the desk in front of her. All around the room are reminders of the world of broken reality, from the rank stickers adorning the fridge, to a wall of action figures and toys of different friends we met along the way. This world we're in, however, is not reality. The hints scattered about are hidden away very well. Firstly, all of our tools are now gone, but when we go to click, we still hear the liker click we used to interact with everything in broken reality. Secondly, the lead game designer said that everyone in the world of broken reality are real humans, except for Oni-chan and Zero-chan, so there's no possible way that Oni-chan could be here in reality. Finally, our biggest and most subtle hint are the clocks. All throughout the world of broken reality, every single in-universe clock is stopped at 4:19. The subway clock, the analog clock in the plaza, the street clock in GeoCity, all are stopped at 4:19 and never change their time. In the apartment, there's a stereo system with a digital clock set at 4:19. All these things together lead to this room being digital, some kind of a representation of a kernel operation, a representation of somewhere that has complete control over Natem and the world of broken reality. After playing around in the room for a minute, the computer in the room boots up, and when you interact with it, it informs you that broken reality has stopped working, and it asks if you want to end the process. All the while, Error's face slowly flashes across the screen. You can try fixing or ignoring the problem, but ultimately all decisions lead to you shutting down broken reality, where Error wishes you a final goodbye, and Oni-chan finally turns to face you as Natem is shut down. I'm unclear what exactly happens following this, but it can be assumed as something desired by the people of Natem, as the credits feature a music video-like segment of all the users enjoying the world of broken reality, including Oni-chan and Zero-chan. Maybe you can assume everybody got their happy ending. The users get to enjoy the fun world of broken reality. The AI can revel in their victory over Natem. Maybe Sai is happy now that she freed the world that she created all those years ago. And maybe Sigma can rest easy now that he's finally righted all the wrongs of his past and accomplished the things he set out to do when broken reality called out to him and he made his return to the world he birthed. I hope you guys enjoyed another lore video as much as I enjoyed making this one. Hands down, Broken Reality was a real joy to play and then dissect. The creators of Broken Reality, Digital Media Triad, are working on their next game, which is called Broken Reality 2000. So if you enjoyed this game's lore, maybe take a look at the Steam page listed in the description below. And if the game is out, buy it, and if not, wishlist it. It's currently slated for a 2024 release. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next video.